And as I said, we are going to record it so that we are able to share this information, the contact details, and also the slides afterwards. So we'll join you up via an email connection unless anybody objects afterwards, so that you can carry on the conversations with each other. But also you have got those details that you might need going forward. And you know what? If we can ask for you to share this with your communities, it's just a really great thing to know, and just a good service. You're helping everybody else. So hopefully you'll have lots of takeaways from today. So just to set the scene, really, of the size of the problem, I did put a note out in the email, which according to the government, there's around 697,000 businesses that have a basic cybersecurity skills gap. And that means that people that are responsible for the security aren't always confidently carrying everything out and doing the jobs that they want to do and should be doing, because they're very much firefighting, trying to do everything. In February 2022, the government also reported revenue generated by the cybersecurity firms rose by 14% to 10.1 billion. This demonstrates that we don't have enough skill in this sector, and it is only going to get worse. So what can we do about that? And we will be hearing from Roger actually how he's tapped into this and how beneficial it was to his company. So amongst all of the other issues we're dealing with, we have to future-proof our businesses. And with the cyber park coming in and the potential of the companies and the opportunities that will bring, it will also put even more pressure on our businesses and potentially large companies coming in to tempt SMEs, cyber and tech people away. And with the cost of living crisis, people are getting tempted by bigger salaries. So looking ahead at the years coming, in the knowledge that this is a national problem, as well as it's going to get worse locally, we do need to be aware of it and explore what we can do. And that is what this morning is all about. So first, we're going to go to Gethin, because it is really exciting to actually understand more around the cyber park. And I know that Gethin is really keen to talk to businesses, in this area, to get to know you, to get to understand your challenges and your concerns, and to keep you updated with what they're doing and the constant changes and moving forward. So Gethin, I'm going to hand over to you. Just check that your IT is okay. Do you want to say hello? Where are you? Have you gone?
He's frozen.
He's gone completely. As I say, I've got his slides. I could give it a go, but maybe we'll wait and see, because I'm sure he'll do a better job. Okay, right. Let's see if he comes back. So whilst we're waiting for Gethin to come back, then let's move on, Darren, to you. So do you want
audible?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
No, you've disappeared, Gethin. I can hear you, but can't see you. You're a black splodge. Do you want to just?
How is this? Am I coming through at all now?
No, you're not. But you know what? What I can do is we can try and share your slides. We don't need to see you anyway. We can hear you. So as long as we can hear you, I can share your screen, your slides.
Okay.
And we can give that a go.
Okay.
So let's just see. Can you see us okay?
Yeah. I'm now seeing a blank screen, and yes, here we go. The slides coming up.
Okay, we're going to give this a go, but you are like a Dalek again.
Apologies, everybody, first of all, for this.
That's okay. Speak to them about their IT connectivity. Okay.
Apparently, there's some excellent Wi-Fi here. It's just that I'm not able to access it properly because I'm using a an external laptop, and there's a few issues. But
Oh, it's very secure. Right. Okay.
so it seems. So I wasn't aware that it was quite as secure as it is. But anyway, let's do as best we can, and
Yeah.
perhaps we can find a way of flagging to me that I'm
We
inaudible, or I've been lost entirely, or something like that.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
we can hear you okay, so that's good. And just put your thumbs up if everybody can see those slides. Yeah, marvelous. Okay, yeah, good. Over to you. So you know, as we just said, just before we lost you, you know, it's important for you to be connected to the business community, but it's also really important for the business community to understand the impact that the Golden Valley development is going to have on them, and also their people in this sector. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Angela. Hello and good morning, everybody. Yeah, the Golden Valley development. So I guess my presentation this morning really is going to kind of give us a bit of a potted history and bring us from kind of concept to where we are today. I'll try and talk a little bit more about what we're up to at the moment and give you a little bit of insight. We're here this morning in the University of Gloucestershire and Park campus, where we're meeting with Kamal and the team here to talk about the wonderful courses and things that they're working on and already are providing. To increase the talent pipeline, because clearly as a local authority we have a greater responsibility than simply to build buildings here. We are of course doing this for the civic benefit of Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, and indeed the wider Western Gateway. So part of that clearly is building buildings and giving homes for organizations to come to. But as we'll figure out as we go through this, we've got a much bigger remit to provide a talent pipeline to ensure that cyber is embedded into the cultural mix here in Cheltenham, and to try and inspire the young people coming through the education system here in town to want to pursue a career in cyber. So if we flick, Angela, please, to the next slide. I've always wanted to say that. Next slide, please. There are a great number of considerations beyond education as well. So sustainability and the ecosystem, or the ecological ecosystem that we've got here in Cheltenham. Clearly, we're working on sites that are at the edge of town, and so we need to make sure that what we provide here not only fits and is befitting of Cheltenham, but also as part of Cheltenham's Chelt Zero ambitions to be carbon zero or carbon neutral. We need to ensure that the buildings that we produce and the manner in which we produce them, quite frankly, is also contributing to an overall reduction in the town's carbon footprint. So some of the concepts that we're working on will involve, well, some of the exploration that we're doing at the moment already involves looking for aquifers, where we can look at ground sourcing, heating, and we've kind of done a lot of work into figuring out how many acres of solar panels do you require to power a development such as this. Unfortunately, we don't have enough acreage, which is going to be causing us to look at alternate sources of energy. So aquifers is one. Would it be wind? Can we harness the nearby Severn? All of these things are being considered and thought of to try and ensure that we meet our stringent ecological kind of commitments on this. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So where is it? As if you didn't know already, it's right next door to the circular building at the end of the Golden Valley bypass. It is around about 200 to 250 hectares of land in total, of which Cheltenham Borough Council owns around 50 hectares in two significant parcels. So as you can see on this map, next door to GCHQ, or just above it, is the symbol for Cyber Central UK, i.e. that is the site of the commercial aspect of what we're building here. So the cyber park, or yet to be confirmed exactly what we're going to call it, to be perfectly honest, but the commercial development that we're going to be building. Critically, phase 1 building is going to be the National Cyber Innovation Centre, run by Factory Cheltenham, and that is going to be constructed in that southern parcel of land there, marked Cyber Central UK. Above that, then we have another dark blue patch, which is on the council's northern holding, and that's going to be a largely residential, and indeed the remainder of the site is going to be a mixed-use development. So we're going to be building, obviously, schools and medical support structures, so be that a GP surgery or any other type of sort of small injury units, or that's yet to be confirmed, but that'll depend on exactly the requirements, and as other things are developed in the town, exactly what needs to be developed. But certainly schools, and definitely some sort of access to medical support, amongst other things. So leisure facilities, pubs, retail facilities, etc., will also be part of the mix in there. So it isn't just going to be work, live, do everything else elsewhere. This is going to be a fully constructed development, in as much as we're going to have in there leisure, recreation, cultural elements in there as well. We're working very closely with Cheltenham festivals and others to look at the cultural structures that we create in there. A major part of the development also clearly is its connectivity. So we have there immediately below it the Golden Valley bypass. You'll all be very familiar with the major works that went on to improve the roundabout at Ben Hall, or at Patherley there. That is fully completed and does enable an enormous amount of work now to be continued, or conducted rather, on this site. To the north of the map, you'll see the junction 10 of the M5. Work on that is progressing rapidly to improve connectivity to the north of the site, and we're working on plans as well that might bring a relief road that will exit the northern part of the Golden Valley development and connect up to the new junction 10 when it's complete. Another major aspect of this map, of course, is the relationship with Gloucestershire Airport, and indeed the ease of access to it. Many of you will have heard terms such as Silicon Valley of the Southwest being bandied around, and you know, we don't do that lightly, and the international connectivity is clearly a major aspect as well, and of course the railway links and the proximity to our neighbours, the city of Gloucester, is massively important as well. Next slide, please.
Okay.
So what is the Golden Valley development? And, you know, much has been made of the fact that it's going to be so many houses. We're looking at around about 3,500 new homes. We're looking at somewhere in the region of 1 to 2 million square feet of commercial retail space, of commercial development space. So clearly it is going to be a hive of industry. We're going to be looking at specifically, obviously, cyber as an industry that's going to fill the vast majority of the spaces that we're working on, but clearly they require support services. So what role do we have for accountancy businesses, for lawyers, for the creative sectors, for recruitment, and others that will support this? I've mentioned already that education is going to play a part in the overall commercial space. Retail, culture, etc., are all going to be part of it. So yes, it's a hive of industry, but we're going to have more of a campus vibe than a business park. So we're going to create something where people actually want to be. I guess if anyone is familiar with the City of London, you know, if you go anywhere near kind of Canary Wharf on a Saturday, it's empty. There's nobody there. So the London Marathon is easily run through there every year because there isn't anything going on. And we want to avoid that as much, you know, this is going to be a new borough in Cheltenham. So it has to be a living, a vibrant place. On that note, it has to be somewhere for startups and scale-ups to be able to live alongside tech giants. So I mentioned earlier the National Cyber Innovation Centre. That's going to have a significant area in there that's going to be aimed specifically at startups and scale-ups, so that they can be right at the hub of what we create, surrounded by tech giants that would be able to help with a lot of their workload, not least of which inspiration and collaboration. But the ambition here is to create the sort of the unicorns, if you like, of the future. So there will be labs, there will be hubs, there will be a significant area for academic research and development to continue as well. And we're talking obviously with the University of Gloucestershire, amongst others, to be able to provide that. A living space for all. So this isn't just houses for the people who work there. We're looking at creating new homes here for to add into the wider Cheltenham housing mix. Now, clearly, a lot of homes in Cheltenham are unaffordable for many, especially at the early parts of their career. So there's going to be a significant number of affordable homes that are going to be built as part of this as well. And affordability isn't just about the initial purchase price. As many of us know, affordability is about the running costs of homes. And so eco-efficiency and the different types of energy supplied into them is going to be a very significant part of their design as well. But most importantly, as I've mentioned already, it's going to be a place where communities blossom. There's a buzz in the air is the final point on this slide. The indication here with the bumblebee is all about the ecology, and I'll let you into a little insight that I was talking to some of the planning team a few weeks ago, and they were telling me that they were busily redrawing some of the buildings that are being proposed as part of phase one, simply because there are 3 ancient oak trees on site. And I'm sure you've all heard scare stories of developers just riding roughshod over things, cut them down, or we'll plant new ones. Well, you can't really plant a new old tree. So the plans are being redrawn, angles are being changed, the exact location and dimensions of buildings are being adjusted in order to accommodate the latest arboriculturalist, I always struggle with that word, arborists report about exactly where the tree roots are. So we're literally changing the design of the buildings in order to accommodate the existing ecology, i.e. these wonderful, wonderful homes. If any of you kind of want an example of the nature of it, then take a look at HBD, who are our one of our development partners. HBD's latest construction, which is the campus building in Manchester. There are a number of trees that now look absolutely great right outside the front door of the building, providing shade and shelter for people as they arrive and exit the building. They've chosen to keep those right throughout the build. It caused a huge amount of consternation, I'm given to understand, with tradies accessing the site. They had to kind of go around the trees, they had to move in and out of them, and HBD stuck by their guns. They said, no, we'll keep the trees are important. And if you look at that finished building now, you can really see the majesty of these trees and how brilliant an addition they are to that particular development. I'm conscious of time, so let's move on. Next slide. Some of the scale and ambition, then some of the numbers around it. Bottom right, 2 million square feet of floor space proposed. Bottom left for me tells the picture of why we're doing this. So Gloucestershire has 6 times the national average of cyber companies. Cheltenham has 11 times the national average of cyber companies. So that is a massive, massive driver. We are looking to provide something that the town is clearly crying out for. So we have a massive, massive concentration of cyber companies here in Cheltenham, not least, of course, because of the presence of our friends at GCHQ. But it is also the biggest development, the biggest concentration rather, of cyber companies outside of London. And so if the country is to truly sort of become a national operator, i.e. it has places outside of the capital, then we really do need to drive this forward and ensure that the cyber sector has a home that is not in London, or that is in addition to the offering in London. 200% growth in cyber industry in the last 2 years. That's a figure that was given to us in late 2020. So I don't have the most recent up-to-date figure, but that was the one for the 2 years up to the end of 2020. So again, you can see the massive growth. And Angela pointed out earlier on that we're at the moment struggling to develop talent to keep up with the rate of growth. So that's again a major aspect of what we're trying to do. Let's move on, shall we? Next slide.
Yep.
So to give you an idea of timetable, we entered into a development agreement with HBD X Factory that was signed in late June 2022. They were obviously the preferred supplier or preferred bidder, and that was announced the year before. And after 12 months of hammering out the details on the legal front and contracts, etc., that was completed on time in June 22. The overall master plan is currently being drafted. We had hoped to be able to share that with everyone this month. Unfortunately, what with a number of things in the world bond market affecting borrowing rates and various bits and bobs, but also in terms of our arborists report and the need to redesign certain angles, we're not going to be able to do that in November. So we were therefore thinking, well, we'll just do it in December. But of course, other things happen in December, don't they? So it really would be unfair to sort of run a consultation period when we have, as a society, so many other commitments during the month. So we're going to run that afresh now in January, and through Angela, the Circle of Success members will be among the first to know of exactly when those dates are. But the ambition then is obviously to submit a planning application in the summer of next year, and aim to begin the development and construction of our first phase, which is going to be the Innovation Centre. And the artist impression there to the right kind of gives you really the eagle-eye view. In the foreground, you'll see the oak trees that I mentioned, and you can see in the middle distance then the other trees where this building is going to kind of work its way in between. Obviously, in the background, you can see our friends at GCHQ to give you an idea of the proximity, and then the wonderful Leckhampton Hill there in the distance. To support all of this, there was a levelling up fund that was submitted in August, what with various changes of personnel in the Department of Levelling Up over the period since we submitted. We haven't had a confirmation, or nobody has had any confirmation as yet, as to which applications were granted their funds, but we are told now that we'll know that by the end of the year as well. Next slide, please.
Okay.
So a touch more here then on the ecological and the vibrancy really that we're trying to inspire. So working with natural landscape and its features, I've told you the story about the oak trees, but it also kind of comes into things when you look at water runoff, or indeed preventing the runoff of water, because if we were to landscape 50 hectares for this commercial part of the development, it would clearly cause a lot of water to run off into the water courses and potentially then send problems downstream. So the last thing that we want to do is that. So we're looking at how do we harness that. in the center of our development and running through the entire 200 odd hectares of site is going to be a major green structure. So that will have water retaining functionality. It'll obviously have a leisure facility. So you can see in the bottom right there, people cycling next to a water course. We want to be able to create things like in the top right, you've got people walking through nature. And we need to make sure that what we develop here is not just sort of a greenwashing. So we are absolutely adamant that this has to play a very central role in the ecological future, and indeed the net zero ambitions of the town as a whole, and not just of this one site. Therefore, it is going to be integrated and connected into West Cheltenham. The residential areas of West Cheltenham clearly now fit up to a boundary, and we're going to be working through that boundary into the development. And so therefore bringing connections through into the existing communities of West Cheltenham is important. Clearly people need to access the site to go to work, but also the leisure facilities and the cultural things that we're going to be creating as well. Then there needs to be a seamless movement between existing and new communities. I've mentioned also the standards of sustainability. We've already published a document which goes into a great deal of detail about the standards that we're going to be employing on site, and you can view more on that.
Oh, we're losing you. Oh, I think we've lost you. I'll just go on to the next slide. Oh, okay. And that's Gethin's details anyway, which we I think we've lost him now, which is fine. Thank you, Gethin. Okay, so if we've got some time, we might go back to some questions on that. But it's very interesting to know what's coming our way, and you'll have Gethin's details to stay connected, and you can ask him more questions. So, Darren, I would like to hand over to you now, if that's possible. If you can tell us, what's happening with the boot camps and what you're up to.
Okay, will do. I'm just about to share my screen, I think. Let's have a look. Share the screen.
Yeah.
If we
Full
go
screen.
to slideshow
That's normally down the bottom.
in the beginning. Is that working?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you, Darren. Good. So we've got an idea now of what's coming our way, and the pressure that that's going to put on potentially the skills that we have. So, Darren, what can people do about it?
Yes, I'm here to speak to employers, really. Cyber skills are an important part of technology, but technology is a broader picture, and it's a difficult situation out there. All employers need tech skills, not just tech sector specific employers who obviously need their tech specialist skills, but tech skills are something common to all employers, and there's a war on talent. And so basically we all need the people, and there aren't enough people with the technology skills out there for us to recruit. And so we get into a situation where people are moving around, and there are two essential problems. When you're recruiting somebody with tech skills, they haven't got them. And when you're trying to retain staff and rethink the way your organization works, there's a requirement to cross-skill or reskill the talent you've currently got into the tech skills that are becoming increasingly important for you as a business, including the cyber skills. So we're funded by the Department for Education to resolve that problem. And I'll move on to the next slide. So we're commissioned to serve local communities by the Department for Education. We're funded in the same way as an FE college is funded. And we've got two programs which I'll be speaking to you about that we're predominantly funded for. The first one is apprenticeships, which everyone's heard of. And I want us all to understand that apprenticeships are not only to recruit new talent, they're also to cross-skill or reskill your current talent, your current talent in the organisation. It serves as an excellent retention strategy to keep your good people with you if you're training them and reskilling them in technical skills. But it's also that reskilling agenda that you really, really need to future-proof your business. And so apprenticeships are not only for recruits, they're also for your currently employed reskillers. And the same is true for a second programme that we're being funded for, which I'm going to tell you about, which is if apprenticeships are a long-term learning strategy for an employer with coaching and support, skills boot camps, you can hear all about them on the news shortly because they're going to go wild on a marketing campaign for these. But skills boot camps are a short-term tactic. So apprenticeships are a long-term reskilling strategy and recruitment strategy, and skills boot camps are a short-term reskilling tactic. And I'll tell you a little bit more about those. But us as a Department for Education provider, we send in two types of coach, the skills and knowledge coach to each learner, but we also send in a performance and development coach to work with the employer and that learner as well. Lots of people talk about the importance of soft skills as well as technical skills for employees. And we message to everybody that people can and should do well by doing good. So the big theme of our program is not just the technical skills courses and training and learning that we're facilitating, but also this big message that, come on guys, if you're an employee of an employer organization, you can do well out of this, but you need to do good first. So you need to identify the needs that the employer has and be accountable to deliver on those. Our curriculum intent is genuinely work-based learning, and we underpin that with academic rigor. So we're not delivering courses which are very interesting, but not particularly useful. We deliver an individual learning plan for every learner, and we sequence and prioritize the learning agendas and the courses according to what the employer actually needs in their workplace setting. We're tech, digital and data specialists, and we're currently top of the national achievement rate tables if you filter out West Midlands providers and/or tech and digital providers only. We're top of the national achievement rate tables in the country for the delivery of our apprenticeships. We also got in our inspection this year the Ofsted Outstanding grade for our quality of education. And the way we got that was they didn't come and look at us and speak to us. They actually spoke to the employers and the learners themselves. And the big question they asked was, is the learning you're doing clearly, does it have a clear intent? Is it implemented well? But most importantly, is it having an impact on the employer organization and on your role in your life, in your working life? And the answer they were getting from the employers and learners was, yes, it does have a tremendous impact. And the reason we're getting that impact is we start with the employer in mind. So we think about the skills that the employer needs and wants, and then we deliver a learning program which is responsive to that employer need and sequenced according to that employer need. We're multiple award winners, we're finalists. Angela was laughing about my dinner jacket problem earlier, and we are winning lots of awards and we're getting that recognition, which is lovely for us. I mean, we're up for national awards and things like that, and it's lovely to be recognized for the impact we're having. And we're also very employer responsive in terms of local regions. So our belief is lots of other apprenticeships providers out there are offering what we think of as a fairly thin national value. So they run a national contract, but they don't develop strong relationships with the regional stakeholders, nor with the employers themselves. So what we're very interested in is kind of plotting an area in a region, if that makes sense, and being there, being attendant to the needs of the local enterprise partnership, which the local enterprise partnership are identifying, forming part of that community, being part of that community, getting to know the employers personally, sending in coaches physically to the workplace, as well as having the online coaching experience and being part of that community as we grow the community area. We built our employer base in Worcestershire first. We also had Greater Birmingham and Solihull, so that's where we've been based for the last 5 years or so, and we've now employed a team that are focused on G first in particular, and we're arriving here and we very, very much want to be part of the Gloucestershire employer community and learner community and grow our impact in the Gloucestershire region. So talking about the skills boot camps first, and then I'll come on and talk about how that fits in the big apprenticeships picture. As I said, skills boot camps are both for recruits and for reskillers. So the problem we have with recruits is it's very difficult for an employer to recruit a new member of staff in a tech and digital type role unless they've got some skills before they even start. So you can't start somebody completely fresh. You want to establish that they've got a talent for it and they've got a passion for it before they start engaging. So what we're asking employers to do for us, please, 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 is agree to interview some Gloucestershire residents who have started to develop with us technical skills on a program called a Skills Bootcamp. Now, the more you can do for us in terms of telling us what specific skills your employer organization needs, the better, because we will framework that learner's individual program around the specific skills you need. So if you're saying, look, I need them to know this coding language or this particular technology, we can help people prepare for that particular technology that you need, but we will also take them through tech industry certifications. So in 3 different areas, all of these, by the way, are relevant to cyber. So 3 different areas. The first area is the tech and cyber knowledge and skills. So they'll take an ITS certification in networking or an ITS certification in cybersecurity. I want to point out that you don't become a cybersecurity professional unless you focus specifically on information security and the human side of things. To become a proper cybersecurity professional, you do, of course, if you're going to harden a network router, you need to understand networking. So networking is a precursor skill, if you like, to that technical side of cybersecurity skill. And the same is true if you want to harden code line from security vulnerabilities, you need to understand software programming first. And so the software developer skills are also a precursor skill to cybersecurity skills in those terms. So we're delivering ITS certifications as well as tailoring the program to whatever the target employer is telling us they need in tech and networking and in cybersecurity. Back-end coding, we focus primarily, the ITS certification focuses on C++, but we also do user experience and user interface, HTML and CSS work. We also do JavaScript work in that bootcamp program there. And then there are digital knowledge and skills which are also useful. Digital marketers go through a Google Digital Garage program, and digital support people are working with Microsoft Office specialist programs, and particularly in spreadsheets. So that's the recruits. They're getting some support, they're getting some training so that they arrive to the employer organization with a portfolio of evidence to show that they've got the passion for and the talent for a particular digital area. We will be guided by whatever the employer who offers us interviews will tell us they need to see in the interview. But it's not just about recruits, right? We need to cross-skill the current workforce. We're not going to address the tech, digital and cyber skill shortage in Gloucestershire by focusing only on those unemployed people. There are people in jobs, relatively low-skilled jobs, that need to cross-skill and reskill in order to future-proof their careers for their current employer. So we offer those reskiller programs for the employed people as well, not just in the tech, developer and digital skills on the left, but we can also offer an employer responsive program, which is actually tailored in terms of the learning content delivered to the employer organization if you can give us 3 or more employed learners. We're a CompTIA authorized academy. We're also a Cisco networking academy, and we're an authorized testing center with Pearson VUE Certiport. We have O'Reilly as a resource bank of a colossal resource of technology learning materials, which our coaches are very adept at developing knowledge via. And it's worth mentioning as well, we won CompTIA's Apprenticeship Rising Star Winner of the Year award this year for our delivery of CompTIA certifications, which includes things like Security Plus, CASP, which is an advanced security certification, Network Plus, A Plus, Data Plus, etc. So according to whatever the employer or Cisco programs, we can actually work with CCNA, for example, and work with whatever the employer is telling us you need in terms of a certification or a technology that is disassociated with the certification. We can build a program if you're giving us a reasonable learner cohort. And per program costs on those, for employers who have fewer than 250 employees, it's £380 per head. And that's because the government are massively subsidising the programme for us. And that's how we make it business viable. Larger employers are having to pay, instead of the 10% cost, a 30% cost, which would be £1,140 per head. So it's a very, very low cost to achieve a coached program, which is employer responsive and includes a tech industry certification. It's a short-term strategy. It lasts for 8 to 16 weeks, according to what we decide. And it's a short-term tactic. It will have that impact in the short term. It's merely a skills boot camp, but that's only part of the picture. Because it doesn't matter how good we are as educators, you don't become a software developer, a network engineer, or a cybersecurity professional on an 8-week course. It just doesn't happen. You get the basics of it, you get to grips with it, you get the grips of it, but you don't become a professional in that process. You become a software developer, a security analyst, a security professional, or a data analyst over a long-term learning journey. So we want to use the skills boot camps with you as the initial setup journey, either for your reskillers or your recruits, to get a career started and embedded with your organization. The issue is you not only want to recruit talent, you want to reskill and retain that talent that you've recruited and retain the talent you've already got as you've reskilled them into new digital roles. So looking at the subject areas on the left there, in all of these areas, these are all areas which all businesses need, particularly specialist businesses. So we can start with a boot camp, but we can go right the way through. If I can move this so the level 7 is there. Oops, I'll move that out of the way. We go right the way through, and you can retain people and develop them through. Why keep developing people? There's that classic cliche, isn't it? If I develop my staff, they'll leave. And the counter is, what if you don't develop your staff and they stay? So the point is that you really, really need to think about it. It's a sensible retention strategy to engage people in taking on, being coached to deliver new business critical skills for your organization and keep them on that constant self-improvement and organizational improvement journey. So people can start with the skills bootcamp, a career entry apprenticeship program could be, according to one of those there in the level 3 area. Some of the programs are level 4 from beginning as well. Level 3 is kind of career beginner. They call it advanced apprenticeship, but level 4 is a higher level apprenticeship. It's the first part of higher education. And so we can recruit people into those areas and help them start delivering value for you in that technician level skill. And they become more technically specialist at level 4. And then we're progressing people onto a degree apprenticeship as well. So the offer from you as an employer is, hey, we can take you from beginner to BSc honours degree in your area of technical interest. And TDM work with you to take that person to the BSc honours degree. And then finally, for those who are interested, we're running a master's level program. It's an apprenticeship program funded by the government again, primarily. And that's in artificial intelligence and data specialist, because that's an incredibly useful technology for employers to be thinking about from all different sectors. And so that's the kind of map to, so obviously what in each level, what happens is the employer agrees a commitment. Does that make sense? There's a commitment statement between the employer and the learner to take the person to that apprenticeship level. The employer then decides for themselves and the learner decides for themselves whether or not to continue to a higher level. And it's an effective retention strategy, which has the value of reskilling.
Thank you. Thank you, Darren. Thank you very much. And it's really useful to understand, the length of that journey as we're starting to look at, I don't know if you want to put your camera back on, Darren. As we're starting to look at, the time scale of when the cyber part might be coming in, that's just a clear demonstration of starting that process now means that you will have moved your people along that career path, upskilling them, whilst that then starts to have impact. You're positioned to have the talent and grow the talent. Roger, can I just come to you now, because you just want to share with us, you as a bit of a case study, really, just your experience actually of using this system and how positively it's impacted on your business. Do you want to share with us what you've seen there?
Yeah, so we obviously my business has been going 34 years. So in that time, I've seen all the cycles of recruitment problems. I've seen it the other way when during weaker financial times, when you stuck an ad in what used to be the paper, job ad, and I've had times where we've been inundated with like over 100 applications, CVs for one particular job. Which is obviously great in those times, but clearly, as we've been discussing, and the point of this is that at the moment that is not the case, and because we do do both IT support and software development, obviously filling that skills gap at the moment is a real challenge. So what we did is start think outside the box and along the lines of what's been presented this morning. So we tapped into Gloucestershire College, who were running various skills boot camps, but the one particular one that caught our eye was a web development skills boot camp. And as part of that, the people get one interview as part of the course, guaranteed with an employer. So we stuck our hand up and said, well, actually, we'd be happy to do that. And of course, the great thing with that is you get to actually chat to the candidates. It's online. It's only for about half an hour. So, and clearly you get, as part of that, the complete range of candidates. You get people who are just giving it a go, who are actually probably not going to be for them, and they realize it's not for them. So you get all these interview slots for the candidates, for the people on the course, and some don't turn up because they've obviously decided it's not for them. And you get people who are doing manual labor stuff who think they can do IT. You get people different age demographics as well, which we've also heard about. But that was the thing that really surprised me, that we weren't just looking at younger demographic. We actually had such a broad age band. And in all that, it's very interesting because you had people who were actually, this was one boot camp of many. They were doing lots of courses. So in those interviews, there was a few nuggets in there of people who were absolutely fantastic to recruit. And yes, there's some of them were further back in their journey, and some were more further forward. But some people were doing online courses left, right, and centre for all different skill sets, PHP, SQL. So of course, those people who've got that proven track record and are so keen they're doing all these courses are the people that we have obviously employed effectively, because it was just tapping into this source of skill, and it's really worked. And in some ways, I've got to say, you still need experienced people, obviously, particularly with software development. But in some ways, these people come with new ideas, enthusiasm, and when you're trying to fill the skills gap and you're offering big salaries to people from other sources, which I know some of the people on this call, we trying to get the skills is difficult. So you're throwing money at it, which is not always the answer, because those people are generally the ones that don't stay, because they'll go again. But these people from the boot camp, massively successful, and that's really my message. And it was just really about thinking outside the box, tapping into the boot camp, being open-minded, and you accept that some people, a lot of people that you interview, they're not going to be suitable. Some people I've interviewed, lovely people, they will get there, but they just weren't far enough along with their journey to make them employable. And I said to them, keep in touch, because you're not quite there, but do a few more courses, then come back, and love to have a chat with you. And you're doing really great sort of thing, but you just need to go a bit further along in your journey before you're employable. So that's really my experience and my message.
And that's fantastic, Roger. Thank you so much for sharing that, because we talk about these things, but when we can actually evidence it, with somebody that's seen a positive outcome, it becomes much more powerful. And the fact that you've embarked on that journey, I think with the right mindset, that, you know, not everybody's going to work for you. And I'm sure those people have been so grateful to have that opportunity. It sounds like it's a win-win-win, really. So I'm mindful of time. Thank you, Roger. So I just want to go to Dawn, actually, as a nice lead into Gloucestershire College there. And how it's worked. So just going to hand over to you, Dawn. Do you want to just give us an update then on what you're doing as well with the opportunities, so people know the avenues they can go to? Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. A good morning to you all again. I appreciate we're close to time, so I won't keep you unnecessarily longer than I need to. I will share contact details at the end, but I just wanted to start by thanking Roger. It's really nice when we know it's worked and that it's working for industry. So we did brief introductions this morning. Oh, just get my slide to move on. So I haven't met some of you on the call. So just to reintroduce myself as the Business Development Manager here at Gloucestershire College. What does that mean? Well, it's mine and my team's responsibility to work with employers to support bridging that skills gap across all industry sectors, one of which is the focus today, IT, cyber and digital. And just to give you a bit of background for myself, I am incredibly passionate and committed to Gloucestershire and the Borders, and do believe in all that Darren and Roger and Gethin have spoken about this morning, and the importance that we are nurturing the talent we have within our region. So to give you a little bit of background, most of you will know Gloucestershire College, and we're focused on bringing industry and education together. We have 3 campuses, one in the Forest of Dean, one in Gloucester, and one located next to a donut that has been brought up many times this morning, and will be in prime location for the new cyber park. What we have at the Cheltenham site is our Advanced Digital Academy, or as we like to call it, ADA, which was actually named after the first computer programmer, Ada Lovelace. From our ADA suite, we deliver a whole host of apprenticeships from, as you can see on the screen, from level 3 cybersecurity right the way through to our level 6 cybersecurity degree, which we run in partnership and is accredited by the University of the West of England. And we deliver these with block delivery. So your employees, apprentices, learners will all attend site, have their practical skills in one of the 8 dedicated computing labs, and then they will transfer those skills alongside your training programs in your workplaces. But I just want to mention, although it's not on my slide deck, it's not just apprenticeships that we offer out of that ADA suite. We also do a range of courses from level 2 computing, level 3 forensic computing and cybersecurity, right the way through to levels 4, 5 and 6 information technology degrees. And I'm not going to re-go over skills boot camps because Darren and Roger, thank you did a fantastic job of covering those. But we also offer those incredibly valuable skills boot camps, and one that's up and coming that may be of interest is the digital marketing boot camp. So we've already discussed where we're located. We're right next door to GCHQ and in the heart of where the cyber park is being built. We have that ADA suite, including that state-of-the-art equipment, which actually has an off-grid attack and defence room. So they are getting real experience that is current right now. We're incredibly proud to have been the sign-on sponsor now for the 3rd year running. And although we've discussed skills boot camps quite heavily in the call this morning, I just wanted to mention the actual T levels, where more of a full-time provision with a huge focus on those skills and behaviours. And there are a host of learners that are now looking to progress into employment. Why apprenticeships? Apprenticeships are one of the best mechanisms for businesses to build diverse talented and committed teams. How do we do that? We do that by working with the industry specialists, working with businesses to gauge what do we need, not what we think you need. We then do the skills boot camps, we look at the entry level criteria, we look at progression routes to ensure we're hitting that right skill set in those candidate pools. It's been proven that forward-looking organisations across industries, especially IT and cyber, are really realising the benefits of employing apprentices. They want to learn, they want to progress, they want to be in this industry sector. And apprenticeships and employers work together to design the curriculum so they reflect the relevant knowledge, skills and behaviours that we need to move forward. Any questions for myself? I did go through that quite quickly because I'm conscious you've already given up a lot of your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Dawn. Do you want to just stop sharing your slides and then we just all come back in the room? So just to summarize then, because I am mindful of the time this morning, is from the boot camp perspective, so how do employers get involved then? Then that's more around, like Roger said, you know, what age group is that? Is that encouraging people to sign up to the boot camp? Is that people in your business? What age group does that start from?
Darren will probably have the same answer as myself. They are open to all. There is no age cap. And something I'd like to reiterate with apprenticeship, they are open from 16. There is no cap on what age you can be to be an apprentice. And I think we still need to demystify that slightly in the workplace. They are open to all. With the skills boot camp, it's anybody that's potentially looking for a career change, or anyone that unfortunately is currently unemployed. Look at what's going on around us economically. Anyone that just wants to dip their toe in the water, and the benefit is they get in front of employers like Roger. Yeah. So although they may not be successful, they are building their skill set, their CV base.
So and they're very keen.
Yeah. Yes. Darren. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. No. Just to consolidate what Dawn's saying, really, the penny has dropped at the Department for Education, and the penny that has dropped is we're not going to address a digital skills crisis if we're putting eligibility constraints which are ridiculous over people. So if somebody at work on an apprenticeship can develop business critical digital skills, or through a skills boot camp can do that, they're eligible. So the only constraint on us is we have to accredit prior learning, which is the same. But beyond that, they can have any qualification, they can be any age. What's the maximum salary for an apprentice? There isn't one. You can be earning whatever you want to be earning, whatever prior qualification, whatever age, so long as it's adding business critical technical skills.
So I think then the message is, if you know somebody who is looking to maybe reskill and change jobs, then encourage them to get in touch and have a look at the boot camps and the apprenticeship opportunities. If you as businesses would like to get involved with the interviewing side of things, with the boot camps, that's a good tap into resource. As we've heard from Roger, he's tapping into talent there and doing a damn fine job of it. So that's a real great opportunity. And also, who's in your business that you might want to upskill or change or divert? It's worth looking at. Maybe some of them, could they go on the boot camp as an introduction? Because maybe they don't really know, but the boot camp's 8 weeks. They're going to learn something new. It's an introduction, and you might find out. The only thing we haven't talked about is how much is the boot camp. We've heard a little bit about how much the upskilling is, but if people wanted to do the boot camp, what's the cost to that?
Currently at Gloucestershire College, they are fully funded. We ask for the investment from employers to support with the interviewing, so the cost is time.
Okay, Darren, is that?
So we've got boot camps for recruits, boot camps for reskillers.
Yeah, so
if we're recruiting somebody, there's no cost, that's fully funded by the government. But if the employer is wanting, for example, a Security Plus certification or something that that employer specifically needs,
Yeah.
it's 10% for employers, which is £380.
Yeah.
If employers have fewer than 250 staff. If they have more than 250 staff, it's 1,100 and some, I can't do the maths, 1,100 something pounds, 30% of the 3,800 cost.
So if you've got somebody in your business that's a bit unsettled and wants to do something different, maybe you could send them on a boot camp for 8 weeks and it's not going to cost you anything. They're going to come back with a bit more, with some inside knowledge and maybe an understanding that that's the journey they want to go on, and you can look at what you do next. But obviously, if you are upskilling people as well, there's an opportunity there for £380, which is frumpence, quite frankly. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. So I'd like to thank everybody today, and don't forget our C2S Connections event, when we actually connect businesses to students digitally online. And I would ask TDM and Gloucestershire College to be coming on there and to be talking to those students, because this is the most amazing opportunity for them to see that they could do a boot camp and investigate. And the struggle with most young people is they don't really know what they want to do. But this would look good on their CV, and they have the opportunity to find something they love or not. So I would ask you both to, join us on the C2S Connections. We had 70 students on from St Edward's School a few weeks ago. So it's a real source of tap-in for you guys. So please join us. Thank you so much. I hope people have learned something. I hope that's useful. We would ask you to share this knowledge with everybody you know, whether they're students, whether they're businesses. Can you help interviewing? I mean, get in touch with these people. And I thank Gethin this morning for setting the scene, really, on what is going to come. And if all their plans take off, then we really need to be locking down our talent and securing that for the future. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Don't forget what we've got coming up on C2S. We're at the Bank of England. We've got Bank of England briefing tomorrow. We've got the second in our growth series about developing a successful marketing plan. We've got C2S Leaders Lounge. You guys, Darren, Dawn, you should be coming to the Leaders Lounge and talking to leaders about this. It's digital. We've got C2S Digital, which is the more networking. Lots more going on. The magazine's coming out soon. And don't forget the Christmas party on the 1st of December. But guys, yeah, I mean, the Leaders Lounge is a great place for you. You hop around the room, you talk to people, and it's just another opportunity. So thank you, people. Thank you, everybody. We'll do a round robin email, and we'll also be doing a news story, and we'll pop this out on C2S TV as well. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you
all.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye. Actually, Darren.
Oh,
stay
oh,
there.
crikey. Yep, sorry.
That's all right. I should have asked people to let me just stop the recording.